Imagine you haven't eaten in 2 days. Your stomach is empty. Your legs feel weak. Every step takes effort. Then finally, you find food. A bush covered with bright, juicy berries. Some of them will keep you alive. Some of them will stop your heart. There are no warning labels, no books, no doctors, no internet, no one to tell you which berries are safe and which ones will kill you. So here's the question. How did the very first humans ever figure out what was safe to eat? Because every fruit, vegetable, nut and mushroom sitting in your kitchen today was once a complete mystery. Somewhere in the distant past, someone had to discover it for the very first time. We often imagine ancient humans as fearless survival experts who instinctively understood nature. But they didn't. They weren't born knowing which plants were edible or which mushrooms were deadly. To them, the natural world was filled with uncertainty. The earth is home to hundreds of thousands of plant species. Many are harmless. Some can make you violently sick. Others contain toxins powerful enough to kill an adult within hours. The problem is that poisonous plants rarely look dangerous. Some of the deadliest berries are bright, colourful and sweet-looking. Some lethal mushrooms are nearly identical to edible ones. Even today, experienced foragers sometimes make fatal mistakes. Now imagine trying to solve that puzzle without thousands of years of accumulated knowledge. One wrong bite could end your life. So how did humans survive? The obvious answer is that they copied animals. If birds happily ate certain berries, maybe humans could eat them too. If deer grazed on particular plants, perhaps they were safe. Sometimes that worked, but there was a problem. Animals don't eat like humans. Koalas survive almost entirely on eucalyptus leaves, which would make us sick. Deer regularly consume plants that humans should never touch. Birds can safely eat berries that contain chemicals our bodies cannot handle. Goats have stomachs capable of digesting plants that would send most people to the hospital. Simply copying animals wasn't enough. Humans needed something better. Instead of immediately eating unfamiliar food, our ancestors probably became incredible observers. They looked carefully. They smelled. They touched. They watched. Then, if they decided to test something, they likely started with the tiniest possible taste instead of swallowing an entire mouthful. This caution wasn't random. Your body is filled with defences that evolved long before modern medicine existed. Take bitterness, for example. Many poisonous plants taste bitter because they contain natural defensive chemicals. Over millions of years, our ancestors who instinctively disliked extremely bitter foods were more likely to survive and have children. That's why even babies often reject bitter flavours without anyone teaching them to. Your tongue is one of the oldest survival tools your body has ever developed. But taste alone couldn't solve every problem. Some deadly foods aren't especially bitter. Others become dangerous only after they're eaten. Humans needed something even more powerful. Each other. Imagine one member of a group discovers that a certain berry causes severe illness. If they survive, they warn everyone else. If they don't survive, the rest of the group notices what happened and avoids the same mistake. Either way, the lesson doesn't disappear. Knowledge survives even when individuals don't. That changed everything. Unlike almost every other animal, humans didn't have to learn every survival lesson from scratch. Parents taught children. Grandparents taught families. Experienced hunters taught younger hunters. Stories became warnings. Traditions became survival manuals. Soon entire communities knew which plants to avoid, which roots had to be cooked, which mushrooms were dangerous, and which fruits could be trusted. Humanity's greatest survival tool wasn't sharper teeth or stronger muscles. It was shared knowledge, and once that knowledge existed, every new generation started life with an advantage the previous one never had. But the story doesn't end there. Here's something surprising. Some of the foods sitting in your kitchen today are naturally poisonous. Raw kidney beans contain toxins that can make you seriously ill unless they're cooked properly. Cassava, a staple food for hundreds of millions of people, naturally contains compounds that can release cyanide if it isn't prepared correctly. Acorns are packed with bitter tannins that must be removed before they're safe to eat. Even bitter almonds naturally contain chemicals capable of producing cyanide. The goal wasn't simply finding safe food, it was discovering how to make dangerous foods safe. Cooking, boiling, soaking, drying, fermenting. These weren't just recipes, they were survival technologies developed over thousands of years through careful observation, experimentation, and shared experience. Humans didn't simply discover food, they transformed it. So did ancient humans learn what was poisonous through trial and error? Partly. But that's only a small part of the story. They survived because they observed nature with incredible patience. They paid attention to patterns. They learned from one another. They remembered mistakes. They passed those lessons forward, generation after generation. Every warning, every cooking method, every family tradition, every piece of survival knowledge became another step toward the world we live in today. The next time you casually grab an apple from your kitchen or snack on a handful of nuts, remember this. There was a time when none of those foods came with certainty. Somewhere, thousands of years ago, another human stood exactly where you are now, staring at an unfamiliar plant and asking a simple question. Can I eat this? The answer didn't come from luck. It came from countless generations of observation, courage, mistakes, cooperation, and learning. Every safe meal you enjoy today exists because those answers were discovered long before you were born. And that's one of the greatest survival stories humanity has ever written.